Hey, it's Biddy Penny. Welcome to my channel. Today I am mixing two challenges. I am mixing the Junk Journal July challenge and the Jelly Postcard Play. They're both July challenges going on right now in 2024, and I'm going to make them my own and show you in this video how I'm mixing these things up. So one's a junk journaling challenge, the other one is a jelly plate challenge, and I just thought they go perfectly together. So we'll sit back, relax, let's enjoy this. I even have a little bit of patriotic things here because the 4th of July, hello. So I got this postcard in a random assortment, and it has this story on the front about the waving girl and the legend around her. And this is a statue that's in Savannah, Georgia. And I just really didn't want to cover up her story and the legend behind her story. So I actually opted to cover the back of the postcard with my jelly print. And so this postcard's kind of double-sided. And I loved this jelly print because I used a metallic sheen acrylic plus gold leafing when I did the jelly print. And so I put that covering the entire card and then grabbed a couple of goodies from my stash. This is just the brand new Tim Holtz snippet release. I can't remember. I don't know if he calls it the snippet roll. I don't know what he calls it. But yeah, the snippets. And then I also have these photo booths. I loved this brand new set of photo booths because there's a lot more pieces that are in color or different colors. And I did sort through the entire thing looking for a naval, someone in the Navy, but they didn't exist. So I just grabbed this couple, and I was inspired to use them and the Queen of Hearts because of the story of the waving girl, which is about a young woman who her love had promised to return, and she would go along the river and wave a white flag for him every day, and he never came. He never returned in her lifetime. And so that's kind of in a gist what it was. So I kind of dedicated this side of the card to that love story. And so I have the couple there, the Queen of Hearts, and on a summer evening. And then I had this distress spritz, which is this fossilized amber, and I am going to use that in my splatter box on a random sheet of book page and splatter this embossed heart. And I am loving this spritz. I love the effect that it gave this heart, and I just figured she definitely had a heart of gold to be so devoted to her love. And it's just a really sweet story or legend. And so I'm going to glue this little glittery heart on top of that one. And now the jelly postcard play, you're supposed to have a gel print or a byproduct of one, a 4x6 postcard, and then a number on it. Now, I almost didn't put a number on this one, just because I have a couple, that's 2 people, and then I have 2 hearts. So I was kind of like, I don't know if I really need a 2, but I ended up just, handwriting a number 2 on the little snippet roll part of the postcard and left it at that. I think it would have been cool if I'd added a larger die cut or something to that effect, but I'm keeping it simple. And so I just glued this down, and I really like the arrangement here. It's not something I've done before, but just having like this long central piece and then 2 pieces jutting out from the sides, it's pretty fun. And then on the back, we still have that legend. So that is my postcard for day 2 of the jelly postcard play. Now, day 2 of the Junk Journal July was postcard. So I just stuck my day 2 in that pocket, and I was good. I was good to go. I got 2 challenges done and 1 stroke. And so what I'm going to do here is do what I've always done with Junk Journal July, which is make it my own. And sometimes I combine the prompts. So day 3 was something folded. And so I folded this sheet of paper and ended up using that fold as an attachment to attach this page. I'm going to have to add extra pages into this journal. I made this journal live here on the channel. They make up super fast. We'll make some more. But yeah, when I was making the journal, I wasn't counting pages or even worried about it because I knew I can always come in and add more pages. So if you're making an accordion journal, don't feel limited like you can't add pages in, because obviously you can. So day 3 was something folded, and that was my something folded. I kind of skipped on to day 5 first, which was labels. And that's what I kind of do. I have to do everything in groups. I'm not going to be able to sit down and do a page a day, a postcard a day, and do all the other crafty things that I want to do. So I have to do things in batches. And because I do things in batches, then I sit down and look at the list of prompts that Meg Journals shares, and I just kind of make things work. So day 5 was labels, and I know I have just a whole hoard of labels in my stash and in this ephemera holder. So I grab a whole bunch of them from different kits. Some of them are plain, some of them have numbers, just whatever. I just grabbed a whole bunch of different labels, and that's what I'm going to put on the day 5 page. So instead of 1 label, I decide to cover the entire background of the day 5 page with labels. So for me personally, I'm not too caught up or worried about everything being in order. So it kind of is, and it kind of isn't. So I'm not even tackling day 4 yet, and it's fine. So I'm just going to play around here a little bit with my labels, figure out who goes where, how many I can put on this page. And I really love these. I'm sorry, I can't remember where they're from, but I will tell you that so many shops on Etsy have printable labels. So, you can get them from so many different shops. And if you just look up labels or tags or something like that, I'm sure you can find some that you really like. I liked these. I tore them with my ruler instead of cutting them out, so they kind of all have frayed edges. And when I'm gluing these down, I just have to make sure that I'm staying well within that creased line for the page. You could go over it, but then your label's going to be bent. And I just want to make sure that I'm gluing them just enough to the side of it that it won't hinder the folding of that page. So I really liked the idea of having like a whole row of labels filling in this background. And when I got down to the bottom of it, I had kind of run out of those longer labels, so I just used smaller labels, and it all works out. It's really fun. I wouldn't say that, this is the thing about junk journaling, is that it's anything you want it to be. And so this may be a completely different idea of journaling than what you're used to or what you've done in the past. And you may even look at this and go, that's not journaling, or that's not junk journaling. I know it's a little bit like art journaling, a little bit. But it's just what, I don't know, each journal just seems to take on its own way. So this one is, I really love the direction this journal is going. I know we're, only in the first few days of July here, and there's the whole month to go, but I'm loving the combination of adding the postcards to the journal with its prompts and creating something new. So, my junk journal Julys in the past were a little bit more about my day to day life. I would grab little things from my day to day life and incorporate that into the journal. Well, last year's was a little more artsy too, honestly. It was more like an art journal. Um, but I just really like it, and it's just fun. It's fun to not feel the pressure of recording the day to day activities. Maybe there's not a lot that I'm up to. Sometimes it feels that way between work and, you know, I do a lot of things all day, every day, but then sometimes I'm like, but I didn't do anything worth noting. Sometimes I feel like, so it's kind of nice to just be able to art journal. And then I'll be able to look back and go, well, in July of 24, I made an art journal. All right, so this piece, I only glued that bottom edge and no other side so that I can make a tuck for another postcard. So my postcard will just perfectly tuck right there over that page. So now we've got day 3 folded on, and we've got day 5 labeled up. So then I kind of decide to jump into day 4. So this piece of paper is the one that I sprayed that heart on top of in my splat box. And this could definitely be probably considered junk. It's just a splattered piece of paper, torn out from a book. So it kind of feels like it is, I'm using air quotes, junk. But I thought, well, this actually kind of makes a perfect background for this page. And I like that it's a similar color to the labels. So as a spread, they will look nice next to each other. And just not wasting any of that spritz. So I'm going to use this page as my background. So this page is for day 4, which would be July 4th. And here in the States, that's our Day of Independence. And when I got to thinking about that, I don't know where it came from, but all of a sudden I thought, no guts, no glory. One of the prompts, I think it was for day 6, is lettering. And so that kind of cued me to grabbing my alpha stamps in the first place. These are the Tim Holtz worn alpha. And then once I grabbed those, I was like, okay, well, what do I want to put on here? And that's when the no guts, no glory came up, which I think is just perfect, of course, for the 4th of July. So many people fight for our independence and our freedom, and I love freedom. I am so grateful to those who over so many decades and centuries have kept us free. So, this is a little tribute to them and to our freedom. And when we have so many freedoms, the thing that holds us back is ourself sometimes. And I think this relates to art. A lot of times I think we get caught up in things being a certain way and perfectionism and these things that really limit us and hold us back. And, I have to say it's just paper. It's just glue. And play and have fun. And so I think the no guts, no glory also goes towards our creative process. Now I had to find an actual 4x6 postcard to fit in here. And I thought the Seattle one would do just fine. Fits really nice. I just made the no glory a belly band. And I found a couple of postcards I really liked. I really liked this Red Hawk It's not an eagle, but it's a hawk, and I think he looks strong. And then there was another one of memorials. And I decided to do the red hawk. And another thing that kind of pushed me in that direction is that I think it's day 6 that has like the lettering, and then another day has wildlife shortly after that. So this is where I start just combining all kinds of things. And so since I am doing these 2 challenges kind of in a bulk settings and sessions, then it all starts to blend together. And I think the whole idea behind doing challenges is just to get you creating and to give you fresh and new ideas. So I would say don't get too bogged down and like, this is day 1 and this is day 2 and this is day 3. Find your freedom, but maybe that's the structure that you enjoy. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But at the same time, you can also just be very free with it, have fun with it, combine things. And then if you're like me and life is really busy, it's a way to complete the challenge without having to chip away at it daily. So I grabbed this gel print, which I really loved that rusty orange color. And so I'm going to use this over my entire background. This postcard ended up being super thick because this gel print is on a very thick cardstock, and then I am gluing it down to a sturdy, very thick postcard. And now I'm going to add another piece of a postcard with this hawk on it. So this one's super thick, super heavy, super sturdy, and I love it. I love the intensity of that bird. And this is my day 4, July 4th card. So I went into my stamps. I've been trying to use them more because I have so many. And I grabbed a Patriotic stamp with the American flag on it. And I'm going to put that in the top corner. And then I wanted to add just one more detail. And I had a friend who sent me these stars a couple of years ago, and I just love them. I keep them on my desk. And I picked out 4 stars to go, and they're red. They're a metallic red. And I picked 4 of those to go over the bird's head. So this is how I completed this postcard. It's my favorite so far, I think. I really like this card a lot. I could totally see myself sending this to one of my brothers who served in the military. I have 2 of them who served in 2 different branches of the military. I could totally see myself sending this to them. I think it's a great 4th of July card, and I do go ahead and stamp the back. That's how I'm going to kind of keep up with when I made these cards, is by stamping the back of them. I did not put a number on the front of this, but Carrie did say, like, if you have 4 of something for the 4th day or whatever, then you're good. So I'm good with this. I have the 4 stars, and I love the way it fits in the book as well, which I'll go over. Hopefully I'll remember to again later. But I did discover that I needed more primary colors in my gel print stash. So we're going to do a little gel printing here. It's very basic. It's very simple. I have a very dirty plate. It's actually torn and ripped as well, but the show must go on. So we're going to be okay with it. I grabbed a bunch of book pages here. Didn't even tear them out evenly. And I'm just going to get going. I just grabbed a couple of stencils. This one's called Choppy Waters. It's from PM Artist Studios. And I squirt way too much acrylic paint out on this plate. This is a 5x7 plate because there was like, the paint wasn't, it had like some thick spots, and so that's why it just came out all at once. It's a really old bottle of paint, and I'm just trying to use it up. And there's just a tiny bit left in it, and there was a clump in there, and so I got a whole bunch. But all that ended up meaning is that I got a whole bunch of prints off of this. I love this Choppy Waters stencil for water, obviously, but I also think it looks a lot like tiger stripes, and I love it for that. I gel printed with it in the past with orange and white, and it looked very much like tiger stripes to me. So yeah, I really like that stencil. And I am just using book pages and just trying to get some gel prints that are primary. I'm doing blue, red, and yellow today because I just needed those, and I will use them throughout the month. Now, this is a much more reasonable amount of paint. And I'm going to pull up the red with some blue, because when it meets, I'll get some purple, and I'm fine with that. So I do like to work in a way that I can get secondary colors, so I do think about my colors as I am picking them and as I'm working in layers. So I really like that pool. And then I'm gonna keep kind of getting layers from here on out. A little bit of this and a little bit of that is basically gonna come up for the rest of this. And we're just gonna do a couple more pools. I kept it really simple. I didn't go overboard. I tend to go overboard. Once I start gel printing, I make 50 sheets. I just can't stop. It's just so much fun. But I didn't do that today. So I grabbed my yellow and another stencil, and I am loving the 5x7 stencils from PM Artist Studios because I make a lot of 5x7 cards, and so it's great to have a stencil that's designed for my 5x7 gel plate. I definitely wanted this to dry, so I waited a little while and let it dry. The first yellow that I used was very transparent, so I came in with a darker, more of a mustard seed yellow, and I pooled with that because it was more opaque. And this is not highly detailed. It's not like an eye-catching design, but now I have a nice yellow gel printed book page, which was my goal. My goal was to get some primary colors laid down and on the gel plate today. Everything that I had done last month, there was a lot of blues and greens because I want to work on some ocean journals. And so I needed these primaries. So we're just going to do a couple of more here. I love this stencil. I don't know what this is called. It was an extra that was thrown into my package, and it's just really fun though. It has different symbols like the $, the asterisk, the ampersand, and just different symbols all mixed up together. I'm going to pull this yellow with a little bit of teal because it's beautiful and I like these two colors together. Even my roll-off pages will get used. Nothing is discarded, nothing is waste. And if you're using the 5x7 plate, you can actually get 2 prints on one 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. And I love that as well. So this is my first print. Again, for me, these are about like a texture and an interest. I'm not really going for any real distinctive imagery here. I just really love gel prints that have, because they do seem to have that visual texture and a lot of interest. So with this one, my goal was to clean off the plate essentially. and be able to pull up most of the layers that we had put down today. And this was my favorite print of the day and my last one. It has a little bit of the red and the blue and green and yellow. It's really fun. It's my favorite. I like both of those a lot. Back to the postcards. And yes, we did skip day 3. And that's fine because, again, it's just about finding a flow and, for me, combining these 2 challenges. So one of the other prompts was window. And I thought, oh, this cute little dog is kind of peeking in the window of the screen door, wanting in, obviously. And so I picked that. And then I have this gel print of, I can't remember what it's called. It's like a stoned archway. I'm going to add that over the text down at the bottom. I mean, I love the text. I do, actually. And the way I trimmed up the paper, it was still all there. All the text that needed to be read for it to make sense is all there, but I need a gel print on this because this is the Jelly postcard play. So I do end up covering the text with this gel print, but I find a way to work it back in and to make it work with my postcard and with my journal. I ended up really enjoying the way these came together. I'm using the Liquitex matte medium here, and I'm not loving the fact that it's really not gluing my paper down. I mean, I eventually get it because I'm not a quitter, but I was kind of struggling with that a little bit there, but I did eventually get it, and it finally held. This is a gel print that I had done on rice paper. I absolutely love gel printing on rice paper, tissue paper, all of those things. And so I wanted to trim, and I'm just using my ruler, but I'm wanting to trim this down a little bit more. I'm going to put this on that postcard, and the way it lines up is I can get a black border all the way around, which I kind of really like because it ties into the illustration art on this book page. And I really liked having that slight black border around all 4 sides. So once I have that trimmed down to the right size, then I'm going to glue all of this to the postcard. I really had so much fun working in my journal, making these postcards, and it's just been a very joyous process so far. I hope you guys will get inspiration as well along the way as I share this month. Now, I did work text back in because I loved that the way the original book page looked. So what I did is I grabbed my Riley's ABCs from Lawn Fawn. I don't know if they still sell this alpha stamp set, but I love it. You could tell it's been used a lot. And I put 3 o'clock because I did want to work in the number. This is for day 3. So I just put 3 o'clock. Spot wants a treat. Our dog has a terrible habit of scratching on our back door. This dog definitely reminds me of my girl and how she would be wanting her 3 o'clock treat for sure. And I think Spot is the name of the dog from Dick and Jane books, but I'm not certain. But I just decided, well, he looks like Spot. He's got those adorable black patches on him. So yeah, this is Spot. And I just kind of worked that right back to kind of where it was before. in the original book page and added this in. I'm using just strips of paper that are scraps in my stash. I keep all the scraps, y'all. And but they really come in handy for things like sentiments and borders and things like that. So I added that back in. And now my postcard is done. I kept it very simple. I didn't want to add much else and throw things off. I just liked it just like that. And so I put my July 3rd stamp on the back. And then now I'm going to work this into my book for the third day of the Junk Journal July, which was that folding page, which folds open. So I grabbed just another scrap, and I'm going to create another belly band. A lot of this journal is going to be like this, so hopefully that won't be too boring to you guys. But because I'm combining these two challenges, which is 4x6 postcards and a journal, and I made the journal intentionally small so that the postcards would hang out of the top of it, then we're going to have a lot of postcards. There's going to be a lot of pockets. It's going to be a journal with a lot of pockets. Maybe not every page, but maybe every page. I'm really not sure. We're just getting started here. But I'm just kind of lining things up. I love the way it's coming together. I haven't done the front of the journal yet. I'll save that to the last, I'm sure. But my postcards are starting to come together. I love the way they look hanging out of the pages. I like how they interact with the pages. You pull them out, then you get to see more of the junk journaling page. These postcards are also completely functional. I can either journal on the back of them, or I could take them out later and send them off to someone if I wanted to. Now, I wanted to tie this card to this page a little bit more besides just adding a pocket. So I got my letters back out and I decided to type or stamp out the phrase, "See spot knock." And yeah, he's knocking on the door, looking through the window for his treat. Very simple, but design-wise, exactly what I wanted. Made me very happy seeing these two come together. And that is what I have for you today. Now, along the way, I got blue paint on this bow, which was a little frustrating, but also just perfectly fine. So that had a little blue paint. Here is this card. I love the gold that's in the gel print, the golden heart, and again, the legend of the waving girl. I just think it's so much fun. So there is that. That's day 2 of the postcard and the page. Then this is day 3 here with Spot, which y'all just saw me make. And I just think it's such a cutie. It's so fun. It's definitely a nod to those wonderful old children's books, which is what this page came from. I actually got this page from a paper kit from Human Curiosity on Etsy. And then we've got day 4, which is my Patriotic page. And really, really fun. I am going to turn this so you can kind of see the red metallic stars. In person, of course, they stand out more. And it's more obvious than it is on the camera. I like leaving, some of the original postcard design there, since these are vintage postcards. Mostly vintage. And then this is day 5. I haven't made the postcard yet. I'll have to do that later. But I have the page primed and ready to go. So that's a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found inspiration here with me today. Hope you're enjoying the holiday if you're seeing this on that day, if you're stateside. Otherwise, just hope you're enjoying your day in general. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you guys next time. Bye.